Listen. Understand this red flag. Understand this red flag, women. If a man ever tells you that he is hardwired to be promiscuous, or he is hardwired to spread his seed with as many mates as possible, you need to really consider running away from this man. Because that is a very deep-rooted ideology. Okay? So let me step back a second. If a person is naturally has a higher appetite, does that mean they're bred to be a gluttonous pig? If a person has a high temper, does that mean they are bred to beat people up or kill people or to murder? If a person has a propensity to fall asleep easily, does that mean they are bred to sleep all the time? Do you see what I'm saying? Just because a man has a high sex drive that is higher than of a woman, does that mean that he's bred to be a promiscuous dog? No. Okay? So the problem with this ideology, and I can disprove it in other different ways, but it's not really about disproving it. I'm trying to get you to understand that there are certain men out there who don't believe in marriage. They don't believe in relationships. They don't believe in commitment. And you need to run from these men. There's nothing wrong with a man who struggles with commitment and who might need some guidance in that way. But men who are vehemently opposed to being in relationships, one woman, one man, basically the goal is marriage. These men you need to avoid. Why? Why do you need to avoid these men? Because their behavior is not conducive for a better generation. If we're trying to have the earth and the world, or at least our communities, be a better place, that means we need to start thinking about what are we doing the same and what has been hurting us, and what do we need to change and what do we need to do better. Okay? So women are looking for love, right? Men are looking for love, right? But you can love somebody, but if the relationship is not good, it doesn't matter how much love you put into it, how much emotion you put into it, because it's not going to work out, because from the foundation it's off. If you don't have trust, if you don't have respect, if you don't have dignity, if you don't have honor, your love doesn't mean anything, because it'll just become a toxic relationship. And as a matter of fact, the love that you have for that person will become a glue or an adhesive into more and more pain out of you, right? You love somebody so much that you just can't help but forgive them every time they smack you over the head with a freaking lampshade, or every time they strangle you and you got bruises around your neck. You just forgive them, right? You lack dignity. You lack self-respect. Now, I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm just trying to prove a point. So let me get back to the point I'm trying to prove, okay? If a man thinks that he is biologically bred or raised, or that he evolved to be this sex machine, a promiscuous robot, he genuinely believes that. There's a lot of men out there who genuinely believe that. So in his mind, he's going to be going against himself. He's going to be doing something that is not natural to him that he believes. So it's not going to be easy. And as a matter of fact, he's going to justify the bad behavior that he does when he steps outside of commitment, when he doesn't want commitment. Right? A lot of men think that men are not supposed to be married. One, because their parents had a bad relationship. One, because their parents were never married. One, because they see a lot of bad relationships. Like, if you see a lot of bad mechanics, if you see a lot of bad scientists, if you see a lot of bad mathematicians, does that make math wrong? Does that make science wrong? Does that make the art and the practice of auto mechanics, does that make it wrong? No, you don't throw away the concept because of the person who acts badly in that way, who practices it bad. You look at that person and you look at how you can improve on the practice or the principle. And this is what I'm trying to get you guys to see. A lot of men grow up in broken homes. A lot of men grow up abused. A lot of men grow up picked on. They grow up with being stuck in a corner, being beat up, being lashed out on, being downtrodden. So they carry all this pain with them throughout their lives. And they look for memes or ideas or ideologies or beliefs that can kind of help them cope with their own pain. So, how does this myth of the seed, men spread their seed myth help with a man's behavior? Men don't trust women because men were hurt by women. Therefore, men doesn't want to commit. Therefore, men shuts off. Therefore, man is a rolling stone. Therefore, man doesn't treat women with respect. It's very, very simple. So any ideology that might sound rational, that might sound intellectual, they will take it on and say, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. That justifies the fact that I don't want to get married. But deep down, it's because men don't trust people. Men have been hurt. Men don't feel respected. Men feel like the world is out to get them. Just because the world might be out to get you, just because you might have been disrespected in the past, just because somebody wasn't considerate of your heart and broke it, that can all be true. But instead of trying to redeem yourself, be held yourself accountable, try and redeem everybody around you, try and have better relationships. No. I just want to instead do the path of least resistance, which is a human nature thing, which is I want to now justify living things the way I want them whenever I see it fit for me in a convenient way. I want to take the easy route. I would rather not commit to one woman and discipline myself to be a faithful man. No, I'd rather just say, I love you, baby, but you got to understand sometimes I'm going to step out. And just because I step out, that doesn't mean I don't love you. You see, this is the lie. This is what this red flag can really potentially bring you to. The man who doesn't want to commit. The man who actually doesn't. The man who will string you along eternally. Now, there's nothing wrong with a man struggling with commitment and wanting to reach it with you, right? If you're the right woman. But there is something wrong with the man who's not allowing you to know his true intentions. See, men, like I said, because we are hurt, we will hurt. Because we were mistreated, we will mistreat. It's kind of like, I don't know why it is. I don't know why that happens. I don't understand it, but it's just how it is. Like, because I don't trust you, now I'm going to act untrustworthy or I'm going to deceive. It's just a natural thing. So what can you do about it? Well, if you have the influence over that man, or if you have the dignity in yourself, you say, you know what? If you don't want to commit to me, more particularly if you don't want to marry me, then we're done. We're not taking a break. We're not going back to how we used to do things. I'm making this video to kind of empower you ladies to think about, do you really want love? Because it's not easy. Obviously, it has to be with the right person, right? It has to be in the right context, at the right time, the right place, I believe. I could be wrong, but I know it at least requires work. Because what's hard is saying, you know what? You can't treat me like this anymore. Either you're going to treat me better, or I'm going to leave. And I know men and women are in these situations a lot in their relationships, and they just put up with it. And it's a cause of so much pressure, so much trauma, so much depression, so much, sadness and suffering in your life. You can always just say, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore. Because you can actually find somebody who's just like the person you're with, who makes you laugh just as hard, but they actually want to commit to you. But nah, you ain't trying to hear that. So, that's the end.